thank you so much for doing this.
Oh,
Uh,
thanks for inviting me.
of course. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Open My Podcast with Amme. This week's this week's guest is the Costume Geek from Twitch. Make sure to go in and check her out later. One of the things that I kind of noticed when I came into your stream, it was your community.
Mhm.
Why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
Well, I am the costume geek. I usually go by Geeky, and I do play Sea of Thieves most of the time on Twitch, and I also dress up and make costumes. My community is a tiny little family. We formed organically. It's just people I play games with and I sail with, and they are lovely. Sometimes a little bit horny, but it's always a pleasure to hang out with them. And we love a certain emote. That's why we call it the Jiggle Party.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that. Uh, wh-
Yes.
One of the things that I noticed is when I got into your stream, the Costume Geek party was already on, and you weren't playing Sea of Thieves then. You were playing some other game, uh, something about portals or pets.
Was that maybe Cult of the
Yeah,
Lamb?
yeah, yeah. Cult of the Lamb.
Yeah, that one is fun as well.
It was really funny because you could use the people in the chat so you can name those pets in your game as well, which was kind of funny because after
Yes.
a while, a couple of days later, when I came in and rated you, you were saying that you got a bad question from the bad quest from DJ Ame. I was like, what the hell did I do? I did not
Yeah.
understand that you were talking about the pet.
Yes, I love the Twitch extension so that you can actually have personalities behind those little in-game followers of the cult.
Yeah.
Also, I'm sorry to inform you, but you died of old age the other day.
You see, I'm already old.
I think I resurrected you, or at least I have you on the to-do list, okay?
Awesome. That's great. I see that a lot of people are coming in and talking about the title not being correct. I guess I can't change it because my OBS is a little special tonight. So, how did you start off streaming?
Well, I started streaming as a joke. Uh,
They
the
all say
background to
that.
that is I always say I'm not a gamer. And then I started playing Sea of Thieves and I found myself some crewmates, and one of them, my lovely friend Package Punch, used to stream back on Mixer, and she wanted to start on Twitch and asked me if I would like to come along. And we had that inside joke that we would get famous streamers and then be invited to Sotfest as guests, which was never a serious idea. Streaming is a hobby for me, but it improved me in many ways because I learned about the technical side of streaming. I got myself an actual PC because of streaming. And
Yeah,
to be fair, I met a lot of wonderful people because of streaming and putting myself out there.
that is awesome. Did you start streaming before you started with the costume thing?
No, I cosplay for over 10 years by now. I I like ugh, talking. I have an Instagram account that I used to put a lot of my costume content to, but I never wanted to do video content until I started streaming out of fun and for fun mainly.
That's awesome. So one of the things that I was thinking of when I got into your Instagram was that you have been doing this for quite a while, and when you
Mm-hmm.
see your first pictures, and then you're kind of progressing through your pictures
Mm-hmm.
as well, you see also the quality is changing while
Mm-hmm.
you're getting noticed to your new types of elements in
Yeah.
your stuff that you are doing as well. How do you think
Yeah.
that that progresses from the beginning until right now?
To be honest, I always say to people, starting is the hardest part because you know nothing. You have no material, no knowledge about techniques. And doing this for such a long time is always a challenge to learn a new material, to learn a new technique. I learned sewing and weaving and working with foam and even making latex masks just for this little silly hobby. But now, after over 10 years, I can actually like say, look, this is my skill portfolio, all those things I can do. And yeah, by now, starting on a new project is not as daunting anymore because I know already a lot of materials. And one of my favorite bits is actually looking at a costume or a character from like a video game and thinking, ooh, how could I make this? What material would be best? What technique would be best for that part? The research process is one of my favorite.
Awesome.
And
Uh,
to be fair, camera quality got better.
yeah, that is one of the things that we all have to figure out how to manage the camera quality, because a lot of us who are starting off with streaming, we are actually starting off with just a regular camera. I think a lot of people are actually starting off with cell phones and
On the
recording them as
outer
well.
camera.
Yeah. So
Yeah, sorry, you gone.
it's a progression, and it takes a really a long time before you get everything done as you like it.
Yes.
Uh, I think that many times when people are starting off, they don't actually know where to start. They don't know
Hmm.
where how to create everything at the same time. So, do
Yes.
you have any tips and tricks how to start off with, for example, your costumes? If there is someone over there right now that is listening, how do they? Is there a easier way to start?
Um, I wouldn't say that is an easy way to start, especially if you're starting from like zero knowledge, but it's always good to research because if you want to make a costume, someone probably did it before. So try to look what other people did, like what material they used. Obviously, don't copy one on one, but it helps like looking at other people's work and learning about different materials. Um, to then get an understanding and also talking to people because oftentimes someone might know something that you never thought of or never heard of that might be the right technique or material for your project.
Of course. Do you think that there is a need, or there is a need to for if I go to myself, if I'm supposed to make a costume, I'll
Hmm.
probably Google how to make a costume, or try
Yeah.
to YouTube myself over there.
Hmm.
Is there a specific type of knowledge base where you can turn to so you can kind of start off with?
Yes, there is certain accounts on different social medias that post cosplay tips. I think one on Instagram is actually called cosplay tips or something like that. I cannot tell you from the back of my mind. But there's also a few online forums, like for example the RPF, which is the replica prop forum, where you find a lot of even high-skilled prop makers sharing their progress and engaging in conversation about what did they use, what would they recommend. Um, so usually, if you start getting into a rabbit hole for Google, usually find a place where people are discussing this. Sometimes there's even specific groups. For example, Boba Fett from Star Wars.
Yeah.
There is a specific Facebook group about the costume in the Boba Fett series where people only discussing his costumes in that one series and only talking about that one costume.
Uh,
So they get very specific.
I think that if you geek out, it's always a good thing to have surround yourself with other geeks who are actually
Yes,
passionate about the thing that you're supposed to do. So,
yes. I want to
what?
add one thing though.
Sure.
There is no harm in buying your costume or like buying something and modifying it just because other people make everything themselves and like everything from the shoe soles until the hats. You don't need to make everything. You can buy stuff and modify it. You can buy the cosplay even though that would be like sometimes the quality is a bit iffy if you buy them in like overseas shops, but there is no shame if you want to start and if you want to start low to not make everything yourself, but just have like little steps, little what's it called?
Mini goals.
Yes, exactly. So that you always have a positive experience and don't get discouraged. Because if you look at the big names out there, they make everything themselves. They have years of knowledge and a lot of materials and tools that a beginner doesn't have. So it's okay to buy in the beginning and
Uh,
then to improve step by step.
Absolutely. I think that one of the reasons that because I'm as a teacher in the carpeting
Mm,
department, you always have to kind of like uh, think on your feet and always have to see like either you back up a step and see what do I need to do right now,
yeah.
or kind of MacGyver it
Hmm.
the whole solution. Did you ever find yourself that you need to do the MacGyver version of it, where you kind of like, oh, okay, duct tape always solves everything.
Yes, most of the times actually. I am incredibly impatient. So waiting for something, like making a mock-up of something just to try. I'm too impatient for that. So most of the times I just dive in and I always say like, no one needs to see the costume from the inside. No one needs to see the ugly seams and all that stuff, as long as it looks polished from the outside. I am a person that is very overwhelmed with, like, for example, sewing patterns.
Yeah.
Someone came up with a pattern and I look at this and it doesn't make sense to me. So I have my kind of own way of doing things from scratch. And even with props, for example, I made this one up from scratch. I just started with like a ruler and some foam scraps and just, eyeballed it a little bit. It's not perfect, but you can do it.
That's also one of the reasons that I kind of wanted to talk to you about it, because I see a lot of creative people talking about to do this you have to have like this amount of materials, and if you
Mm,
don't use the scraps you will probably go bananas. I think that they will cost a lot of money, and if you know where to find those materials for a very cheap product that are cheap, you will have a much more way to even correct the mistakes that you have even
mm.
done.
Yeah. I personally am trying to craft very sustainable. So, for example, you know how I'm making those journals, right?
Yeah.
These details are old pizza cartons. It is literally, I could go into the craft store and buy like some good cardboard that is very expensive, or I could buy two pizzas for the same price and I have the cardboard and some food. And
Of
it's way
course.
more sustainable. In the end, with the end product, you won't know. You won't notice. Um, but why should I buy the expensive material if I can use the stuff I have and be more sustainable?
Can you show that to your camera a little bit closer so we can
Hmm.
see that?
I mean, it's already painted, but it is like little 3D embellishments out of cardboard on top of it.
Yeah. Did you stain it like that so it could have that rough surface?
Yes, so basically what I do with the books, let me take a different example. This one. I cut out these parts, glue them on, and then I put some toilet paper together with my base, which is flexi paint.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit like paper mache, just more flexible, and that gives it that leathery look with all those crinkles in here,
Yeah, I could
so that it looks more
see
organic.
that on the camera as well. That's awesome.
I, I hope it picks it up. Camera is always
Yeah,
like a little bit iffy.
I think everybody sees it, right? So, um, one of the things that I was concerned was when do you do any streaming while you are creating?
Yes, I
How
have
does
not
that
done it
work?
very regularly. I have not done it very regularly, but I try to do it more regularly now since I have a second camera now that I have set up. Like over here, I have an overhead camera basically that is capturing my desk. And
Okay.
then I have like in my setup, you see my desk that I'm working on and my face camera. That's usually how I do it. I would like to get a third angle because those two are not ideal. But yeah, I usually just stream what I do on my desk and chat with people at the same time, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I understand. A lot of people do that as well. I want to try it because I usually do like stuff around the house when I paint the house or everything like that. But the
Yeah.
problem is that the cell phone is so far away, so I can't
Mm,
read the comments. Or I should have like another iPad or something like that to
yeah.
just to read the comments. It looks really weird sometimes, so I get really silent
Mm-hmm.
at times, which is also one of the things that kind of makes my mods very good. They are really good at picking up the signals where I'm kind of focused on what I'm doing right now, and they're kind of
Yeah.
typing in the chat. For example, what's happening right now.
Mm,
He will answer
yeah.
the questions as soon as he's possible to do that, and so on and so on. Do you how does that work at your house with your mods, for example? Do you have a lot of mods, or do you have a couple of people that you're kind of trusting with your
Um,
decisions?
a few of my mods are actually in your chat from what I can
Yeah,
see.
I can see that.
Um, to be fair, I don't have like a very established mod culture. I have a few that are almost on with me every day, like every time, because they play with me a lot. But if my mods are in the house, they usually, try to keep the chat clean. But I also don't do any streaming where I cannot look at the chat. So when it comes from my crafting, for example, like you said, some things you cannot just do on your desk.
Of
For
course.
example, for sanding my foam, I need to go outside on
Yeah,
the balcony. So these things I do not do on streams. I basically prepare everything so I just can sit here and paint and not like show these parts, or like when I need to sew with a sewing machine, then you won't see anything. You will just see the sewing machine off the from the top. So I just make sure that I can have eyes on the chat all the time. But till now, my mods always caught any bots or like weird stuff.
awesome.
And yeah, I never had issues, but I'm also not in the price range where I can like actually pay my mods, so I don't expect anything off of them.
When it comes to paying the mods, I think that they appreciate everything that they get. Usually, they're people anyway sitting in your stream, and they gladly want to come in and help and make sure to
Yeah.
get a good community and so on and so on. I think a couple of months ago, I sent like a mod crew T-shirt to a couple of my mods, and they're
Hmm.
very grateful about it. Uh, but I think that all the small gestures and all the things that you can do for your mods is also one of the things that you can say, kind of like, thank you, and I appreciate you for everything you've done for me.
Yes,
Uh,
I
I
absolutely do. And if they have anything that they come to me for, whatever, like problems, proposals, I always help.
yeah,
But it's like, like as long as we don't have like an employment situation, I don't expect them to show up to every stream or to, like work because I'm not paying them, if you know what I mean.
of course. Uh, One of the things that I was thinking about, what's the funniest thing that somebody told you while you were in a costume?
Oh, oh, oh my. Um,
We don't get
there
paid.
is there is years and lots of costumes. Oh my god, the funny. Oh my god.
Is there
I
like
need to
one
think
of
for a
the
minute.
things that kind of popped up? It should be a lot of them, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just
Maybe I should
oh,
send that question to you before, so you have a possibility to think
there's
about it.
yeah, there's a lot of things. It's usually always a good and funny time when you're on like on a convention when you wear a costume and stuff. Um, so it's hard to pick out like a standing out situation because they're usually all great.
Yeah.
Um, what I would probably say is the funniest is I was a long time ago was doing Halo cosplay and I'm still active in the group. And every time we went out in our Halo armor, people were like, "Ooh, you Power Rangers, you Transformers, you whatever." They they literally call even someone called me Master Chief wearing a orange gray armor as an ODST, not even an actual Spartan.
Yeah.
So I think that is some of the most funniest shit when people try to guess what you're portraying and they're completely wrong.
Yeah, especially people who are not as much as in the genre as they should be, because they are actually coming to an event about maybe a Halo or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, at Sotfest, it never happened that someone did not recognize the cosplay, but it's just, one video game. If you go to a convention like Gamescom, for example,
Yeah,
um, and then you wear a very specific outfit, people will guess the weirdest things. It's just funny.
of course. So one of the things that we were talking about earlier were that the mental health issue
Mm.
when you are not feeling as great as you supposed to. How do you cope with that, and how do you juggle with the streaming aspect of it?
Um, yeah, I mean, I said it to you earlier. I'm a person that is very authentic. So my life is not a secret, but I also not overshare. If there is times I'm not feeling too great, I also don't bother to stream because I view streaming as a hobby and I'm trying to have a good work-life balance. It is not my job, but a hobby life balance is also important. And it would be a lie if I would say I never felt guilty for not streaming when I had a stream planned. Mostly because I was bummed out myself that I couldn't make it because I was looking forward to playing a game or hanging out with people. But there's just like a certain mood that I don't need to be on the internet with, which does not mean that negative emotions are a no-go. I literally cried on stream 2 days ago because I was frustrated from a game, and that's also part of the authentic experience. If I get frustrated, then people are allowed to see it. People are allowed to see the struggle. But if I have not a good mental day, for example, I'm not in a good place, I cannot deal with people in chat, for example, or cannot focus, then I also think it's better to not go live.
Yeah,
In the end, it's my show and I decide when it's running, right?
that's right. I think it's a very important issue to also see the behind the scenes that we do. A lot of things that we are setting up, or a lot of things that you see on TikTok or social media or whatever it could be, it takes time to develop, or it takes time
Mm-hmm.
to, if you're making, for example, if you're making a short clip or whatever, it takes time for you to get that clip added or edited or anything like
Mm,
that, and then put it up. Make sure so everybody can see it, and so on and so on. So
yeah.
one of the important issues with this podcast was that I wanted to show everybody how much we do behind the scenes, and
Mm-hmm.
how can we make it even better, especially for those who eventually want to start streaming and hoping to make sure to get some tips and tricks from us who are
Yeah.
been streaming for quite a while.
Yeah. It's like, trust me, I'm not the best with processing content. Like, I have hours of clips that are unedited. I have not posted on my TikTok in ages because I did not have the mental capacity to.
Of
So I
course.
have a lot of raw content lying around, and I think that's something that happens to a lot of content creators that you make things but you never process them. And what I try myself and what I think helps a lot is like coming up with a schedule that is obtainable. Because I've also seen people that were like, I need to post a clip every day, and then felt really not good about themselves when they were not able to uphold this standard. Get yourself a realistic standard. Try to post one clip a week, for example,
Yeah.
and try to take one day. For example, if you have the weekend off, take the Saturday to prepare those clips, to go through your material. Try to make like a schedule when you work on things so that you can actually have a sustainable flow of content, because a lot of people, for example, if you focus just on streaming, that is great. You can do that, but you will not feed all the other platforms automatically. So if you want the revenue and if you want to get your name out there, you need to like engage on all the platforms and make like a sustainable set schedule for yourself and not overdo it because we all start small. It's a hobby in the beginning. Obviously, it can be more if you're lucky, but
And
some people have too many expectations.
depending also on how hard you work.
Mm,
I think that
yes.
you, as you are doing that right now in on Twitch, for example, you have a possibility to those people who have made like clips on your stream. You can
Yeah.
remake them so you can post them directly on YouTube and TikTok and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
one, I think the most important part is that I think, as Guardian King said, that it sounds like you need an editor, Geeky. Uh, and
If I
he
could
might be
afford
right.
one.
He might be right. It's probably people who actually like to do that stuff. And one of the things that we were talking about before with other streamers was that even though if you are expecting to people to do something for you for like editing, for example,
Mm,
like as Guardian said, uh, it could be a way for them to show what they are doing correctly.
yes. Yes. It's always good to collaborate with other people. I always say you don't have to do you do not have to know how to do everything, but you have to know someone who knows. And then you can trade your like craft. For example, you know, someone wants to edit, the other person has like, for example, I can make overlays instead for them as an example. So these things are incredibly important, especially for smaller creators to work together. Same with like cosplays. You need to find photographers that want to shoot with you. If you would like pay a photographer, like a professional one, every time you take pictures of your outfit, you would be broke so quickly. So you find people to work with on an um
Regular base.
it, yeah, no, there is a word for it. It's basically like time for pictures. So you bring your time and your outfit, and
Yeah,
they make the pictures, so you don't have to pay and they don't have to pay, and both have something for their portfolio.
exactly.
TFP is, I think, the short version of it, and that's great. Like I did used to do that with someone who made like some designs for my first line of merch for Sotfest,
Yeah,
where she made some graphics for me and I basically paid for her part of the merch, like for jackets and a shirt. So it's not necessarily like a trading of like it's more trading of goods than a actually payment for a service. So all people can like have something from it, which is important.
that is awesome. Where do you see the future of cosplay going for you, for your end?
For my end, actually, I have for the first time an actual solid plan to make that more as a hobby. I finished my education in the summer. I went back to school to learn a new job, and I will work in childcare soon as the job market treats me. And my plan is to work part-time in childcare to, pay the bills, afford to live under a roof, and all that stuff. And I am currently working on pulling a shop together so that people can commission me for things like flags or journals and all these kinds of bits and pieces. But I'm also making things for the shop to be bought, which will basically part-time self-employment.
Yeah,
At the moment, I'm holding off with the shop until my main job is settled. But then you will see a lot more from me costume wise because that hat alone, I was asked by 10 people if they could buy it. So I kind of have to, I have to give in
of course.
to the
Uh,
demand.
but at the same time, they are actually saying that they want to buy it themselves, which is
Yes.
a good indication that you're doing something right. Uh,
Yes.
do you think that social media had a good impact on the cosplaying game for now?
Yes and no. Social media is is a coin with two sides with everything, you
Of
know?
course.
Like obviously it gives you a lot of exposure, it gives you a lot of reach. You can reach other creatives to, you know, like have that discourse with them. But on the other hand, there's a lot of toxicity in the cosplay community as is in any other online community. You know, like people being like, "Oh, this person does the character better than that person." And I personally did take a step back during COVID because a lot of events didn't happen. And I realized that instead of putting myself out there in a costume every time, you know, like being the canvas, I enjoy way more making little projects for other people that actually cherish them. So my focus and my view on cosplay changed a little bit over the last few years. I'm not into the competition that much anymore. You know, I'm not doing many competitions that I partake in, and I'm not going onto social media and look at every costume and I'm like, oh, I like this better than that, which a lot of people do, and I used to do too. We are all, you know, we put ourselves out there so that people look at our work and that
Of
we get
course.
appreciated, but you get also not appreciated the same amount. So
Yeah, I think that one of the things that I kind of one of my idols is uh, Joe Rogan. I
mm-hmm,
listen to his podcast a lot, and
mm-hmm,
one of the things that I kind of learned from him is that don't don't read the comments so much, especially those negative comments.
yeah,
A lot of times they kind of it's a lot of people that just want to break your balls and oh make sure to give you a hard time just because. But then a lot of times they are broken people. How do you handle the negative aspects of like trolls in your chat or people coming in and being toxic and stuff like that?
fair. For me it's pretty easy to deal with that online. Like I've worked in customer care for years, so I'm used to being yelled at by someone on the other side of the line that does not have to face me. So I usually laugh about it and just, you know, block them, carry on with your life. I have not had that much harassment on Twitch yet. I have been harassed on social media for my cosplays. I've been called the fat version of that character. I've someone called said I must be trans because I'm a quite tall and broad framed person. I'm not small and petite like those anime cosplay girls. Ooh woo, you know. So I was called a lot of things, but it's just people behind a screen. And as long as they are not having the balls to say that to my face, I get not upset about them. Not at all. Come to my face and say it to my face, and then we can have a problem. But otherwise, nah. Go cry into your anime pillow. Yeah.
Awesome. So
If it's
I think I muted myself because I was coughing
oh,
at the same time. So it's probably not your fault.
okay. I thought I broke my sound again.
No, no, no. It's good. I muted myself because I was coughing.
Mm,
So in that case, what you were talking about toxicity and calling yourself, them calling you stuff like being a transsexual and stuff like that. It's just weird and people are stupid. But we can do anything about it. Uh,
yeah.
we can do is that we can report it and we can send it on to other streamers. What we do
Yes.
in my community is that we are a couple of streamers that have connected our streams. So whenever I
Mm,
have people who are, what should I say? Whenever I have people who are banned for some reason, they're
mm,
getting banned everywhere in our community
yeah.
as well, which is
That makes sense.
very hard to get that reach afterwards anyway. And
Yeah.
we have a rule that you can be unbanned after a couple weeks in that
Mm-hmm.
case, but you have to state your case.
Yeah. I never had to really ban a lot of people for bad behavior, but I just remembered a story that JJ probably will remember as well as one of my mods. There was a person, and I was streaming with like like I think two other people, and they were like being a little annoying prick in all our chats. So JJ and another one of my mods, Duo, chased them through all of our chats, and and basically gave them a hard time. That was before they were my mod. That's literally the reason why I modded them. Um, and chased the person through all the chats and were like giving them comments back when they were like saying something. It was a lot of fun
That is
because
awesome.
like usually I just try to laugh about it because they want me to be upset, and if I'm not getting upset, then they don't win.
How do you connect to your audience while you're streaming?
Um,
Do you have like community nights and stuff like that?
yes and no. I used to have that more regularly, that we would play Among Us and stuff, also on stream, but that kind of fell asleep a little bit because I was busy with real life, and if no one organizes it, it's not happening.
Of course.
But generally when I'm streaming, I usually have like a handful of people in chat that I love to talk to. And it's like I'm a very talkative person. And we have a Discord where we hang out in the VC just randomly. If I'm sitting in there, sometimes people join me. So the connection there is mainly over Discord and then in chat. But since many of my community are also part of the Sea of Thieves community, and we also go to this lovely little event called Subfest, we meet IRL. Some of them I met IRL twice already since I started streaming on this event, and to have the opportunity to go face to face, especially with like the closer group of the inner community, is really really nice.
Yeah. And I think that that is a uh, very good aspect also, as to get connected and network with other people, especially if
Mm,
you met them in real life.
yeah.
So one of the things that we are doing right now in Sweden is that we are going to DreamHack, and we are going
Hmm.
to meet up everybody who are have possibility to come over there and meet us and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where did you meet on Southfest? Where was that? Was that in Germany or
Sudfest is in the UK.
UK?
It's
Okay,
the last two times it was in Birmingham, in the Birmingham area. And I don't know where it is next year. They don't have the information yet. But I fly out basically from Germany to the UK to meet the people there. This year, even one person from my community that's also in Germany came to my place first, and then we traveled together to someone else in the UK that we then had a road trip with, and it's a lot of fun.
that is
But
awesome.
I genuinely try to go to more international conventions. Before COVID, I even went to a tiny, tiny convention in Sweden called Sci-Fi World in Malmö. I
Okay,
traveled there
cool.
with like three, four of my German friends because we have people from our Halo group in Sweden,
Yeah,
and they came to Germany like half a year later for a convention. And these kind of things are a lot of fun, so I can experience how conventions are in other countries, and they can experience how conventions are in Germany.
of course.
Even if even if it's the same hobby, it still is different depending on where it is and
Yeah.
stuff.
Uh, do you think that the you started off pretty basic with the laptop, right?
I started on the Xbox originally for
Xbox.
streaming, yes. And
So
then I upgraded to a laptop.
do you when you did start streaming, you started off with Xbox, then you upgraded to uh, PC, and afterwards you need a couple of cameras. Make sure to
Mm.
get the right lighting and stuff like that. Do you think it's a good thing to listen to other people when it comes to the technical part of it?
Yes. Obviously, everyone needs to find their own way to make it work because depending on what your content is, you might have other requirements. But it is in generally really good to, talk to other people and listen to what they experience, what kind of programs worked for them. Because as I said, I started on Xbox and then I moved on to the gaming laptop. And the first advice I gotten is the most important thing is a microphone because your camera quality can be shitty. Your gameplay quality can be shitty, but if the people cannot listen to you because your mic quality is shitty, then they will drop out because it's about what you say.
Usually they
Um,
come in for the talking part.
yeah, and especially like when you cannot just listen to someone, you will get annoyed and just drop off when they
Yeah.
have like sound issues. So these kinds of advices really helped. And then I was very lucky to run into a few people that explained OBS to me. And I'm very glad that I have people around me that know more about the technical side than I do, that I can,
Of
come
course.
crying to, be like, my OBS is weird, please help. But by now, I learned a lot during those 2 years, to the point where I was able to set up a whole streaming setup with overlays and everything for someone else, at least the basics, which is kind of cool because it shows that you grow by, trying to understand how the technical side works behind it.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people that are streaming are also when you think back, a lot of people that are streaming are also having this thought about when they went back to school. They
Mm-hmm.
were really bad students. I was a shitty student as well, and I'm a teacher right now, so it's really
Mm-hmm.
weird. And a lot of people are wondering how come that when you are such a bad student when you're a kid and you can concentrate for shit, and then you come back and you can sit and spend like 4 hours to see how it works on OBS. How does it work on TikTok? How does it work on Twitch, YouTube, algorithms, everything that you
Yeah.
can try to understand the full elements about how streaming works, or how do I get that costume, and how do you do that work process to get
Mm,
it done the way that I want it to be done and stuff like that. So it's kind of weird, and at the same time it's kind of funny how you need to break the barrier and find something that you're interested in,
mm.
so you can have like this mega focus on the thing that you actually want to learn about.
Yes. Um, I don't know if you know, I have ADHD, and it is an actual thing for people with ADHD and other neurodivergent people to have a hyperfocus. So when I want to do something, sometimes my brain is just like, yeah, you want to learn that new skill now because you've seen one video on Instagram about, crocheting. Now you want to crochet. And then I really have to focus myself to finish my current project instead of just, dropping everything and starting the new thing. But if I start in a hyper focus, I did it before Sotfest. I made 7 of the journals in one go because I was so hyper focused on it that I was able to do the same work in like a third amount of time because I was so motivated. And it's a superpower and a curse because it goes the other way around as well. As you said, if you have like that frontal um teaching situation and it's
Yeah,
something that does not interest you, with my ADHD, it's amplified. So even if I try to focus, it makes me sleepy. I, I cannot. I cannot. My brain is just like, nope, no, we're not listening today. So yeah, it's a superpower and a curse in my case.
of course. And I think that you should, as you are having trouble develop your things that you want to develop and stuff like that, if you have this curse, you should embrace it, because
Yes.
one of the things that you usually have a problem for, or like if you're working, you usually have a problem by having this focus on work. But then if you do
Mm.
something that you like, you're embrace that, they make it your own in that
Yes.
case.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing with my 2 jobs that I'm aiming for.
Yeah,
Because for me, one job, like, that the regular 9 to 5 job gets incredibly boring after a while. And I literally burn out after a year because I'm bored. So I hope by having the part-time job that pays the bills and then the part-time job for my sanity with the creative stuff to level it out a bit better,
yeah,
And that's like my next take basically on that situation.
of course. What strategies do you do to promote your streams when you're trying to attract new people to the stream?
I have not done a lot of advertisement lately. when I started out and started to do my streaming on a more regular basis, I used to post in certain community groups, like, for example, Sea of Thieves Facebook groups.
Yeah.
I have been in a few streamer promotion groups as well, but I learned that in those groups, there is just people wanting to get their name out there, and it's not giving you a lot of traction. Sometimes you get boosted to affiliates, so that you have your 3 viewers, like the hardest thing in the beginning. But after the people helped you push to affiliate, and if they don't stick around because your content is completely amazing, then you will drop down again. So I personally would say try to find your niche. In my case, that was Sea of Thieves, and try to put yourself out into that niche. I did that by doing like streams in cosplay, by dressing up. People come to my stream because they see pictures of my hats. I post a picture of my outfit that I wear on stream, like a selfie every day I go live. So people come because they see I have the hat. I want to ask, do you really have it in game, for example, because it's a special cosmetic.
Of course.
And obviously, by being more active in that one niche community I'm in, I by now am a little bit more known, and people stumble over my name and say, "Oh yeah, right, she did the cosplay stuff at Sotfest, for example." But that also depends on like what kind of content you're going to make. In my case, I have one main game,
Yeah.
and the rest is just like sprinkles around. Like sometimes I play another game, sometimes I do the crafting. But I advertised myself mainly in that one community. If you are like a variety content creator, it's obviously a little bit harder because you're not like able to thrive off of that one community that comes for the game. Because most people come for the game, but they stay for you. And if you have people that come because you play Fortnite and then you play, I don't know, Call of Duty after, and they didn't like you, they will not come in
Yeah.
because they came for Fortnite and not
Yeah. Of
necessarily
course.
for you,
That
So that's important to have them stay for you.
that's kind of also a really weird thing about niches when you are kind of developing a community that just want to talk to you about Fortnite or just want to see you play Fortnite or COD or whatever it could
Yeah,
be. And when you get that base with people that actually just want to see you, because if you're
it
not
gets repetitive.
exceptional at the level of the game that you're playing,
Mm,
it you should have some other type of niche,
yeah.
and it's either talking a lot with people and communicating with other words,
Hmm.
and or doing something else with your community. I used to have like uh, community streams where we are having like custom games where we have like
Hmm.
100 plus people coming in and playing against each other in the same
Yeah.
game. That's fine, and that's really fun.
Hmm.
We had like every new season we have a community uh, tournaments where they have
Hmm.
a possibility to win like battle
Yeah.
passes or anything like that. And every penny that I get from stream, I put in back to the community so they can have this type of competitions. Some of the things that you want to bring with you is that it should go both ways. I think it was Rocking that saw that before. He wrote that in the chat. I think it should
Yeah,
go
she.
both ways. Show, sorry, she. I don't
No
know.
worries.
I don't know who it is. I just said the
It's one of
Rocking.
my mods. That's why I know.
He, she. I don't know. Who cares? I'm so offended. That's fine. You can be offended. She was actually asking me, or was it somewhere else asking me about Barry? Who's Barry?
Okay. Okay. So in Sea of Thieves, you can have pets.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago, around that time, I started sailing with someone who was a dear friend of mine, and she had a pet, which was a parrot called Barry. I made him in an IRL version. Basically, he wears a little captain outfit, and he became the mascot of my community and my streams a little bit because when you have the animals out in Sea of Thieves and you put them where the steering wheel is of the ship, oftentimes the person steering the boat is grabbing the pet instead of the steering wheel. So the person driving our boat oftentimes curses about Barry because we put him there and he grabs him instead of the wheel. So yeah, he started being a little bit of a mascot and an icon within our community. I also made merch with his likeness, just for, the select few people that actually are in on that joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the little kind of organic things that just happen when you get together with people and have like repetitive jokes. But yeah, that's Barry.
That is awesome. Uh, how do you plan your streams before you go live? Do you have any specific order that you go through, or do you just go on and stream?
Plan? What is this? To be fair, I have a rough time I aim for. Usually I go live around 9 p.m. my time. Um, Depending on who I'm sailing with, because Sea of Thieves is usually a team game and I
Yeah.
rarely play on my own. It also depends on the other people. Uh, when it comes to prep, I got a stream deck for my birthday last
Ooh,
year. So
nice.
I have like my little section where I just push my buttons for my program so they all open, which is nice. And usually just, get into my little outfit for the stream, get my makeup ready, post on the socials that I'm live, and then just pressing live. I'm late most of the times, because, time management is not my strong suit. But yeah, again, it's a hobby. I decide when the show starts, and
Yeah.
so far no one ever complained and said, "Oh, you were not on at 9, but you were on at
I actually
15 past.
got
How dare?"
some of those complaints before. Uh,
I mean, next stream they will complain, just because they heard
Probably.
it now.
Probably. One of the things that I wanted to ask you also was that how do you handle the amount of people coming in and wanting to play with you, like new people who are coming in? Do you usually play with followers who you don't know? How do you
On the game.
manage the security around it?
It depends on the game. For Sea of Thieves, I had sometimes that people wanted to play, which I usually decline. Like, I'm not having anyone on my boat that just popped in chat to play because, I cannot filter what they're saying. And if they just want to troll and say some stupid stuff on my stream, that would be a shame. So I usually tell them, join my Discord. Let's get to know each other, and I'm open to sail. All my crewmates have been people that I encountered through social media or streams and that were strangers at some point. But with Sea of Thieves, I usually don't do that. When I play games like, for example, Gardic Phone, or if it would be, for example, Party Animals, I don't mind that much because it's not about talking. And usually, if the people are not in a voice call with me, they are not an issue to the stream. But as soon as it comes to games with communication, I am a little bit iffy with people I don't know.
Yeah,
If I don't
of
have
course.
anyone to vouch for them. Yeah, and when I have like community game nights, I usually organize it over my Discord, just, so I have that extra step that people have to go, so you don't just have a troll in your session.
As Guardian is saying, now I see why it took so long to play with you.
No, no, okay. What Asgardian is referring to is I always say to people, like, if there's someone, another content creator is different. If it's a Sea of Thieves streamer, for example, I can look at their stream. I can see what kind of person they are. And usually if they're a streamer, they usually know stream etiquette, and it's a bit different than a rando
Yeah.
viewer. But I also am horrible with scheduling. I have a hard time reaching out to people and actually making plans. Also an ADHD thing, unfortunately. And so many people that I even met IRL, I have not managed to sail yet because you need to plan it, and I'm not good with planning. And time
And
zones are a bitch too.
to do, especially MMO RPG and stuff like that are very hard to do, especially if you have to plan so you can get into the same server. I
Mm,
played Valheim for a couple of weeks ago,
well, yeah.
and it's a really immersive game.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to have like a specific server so you can get into with your friends and stuff like that. Um, to be
That's the
able
exact
to,
reason why I never played it so far.
yeah, to be able to have people coming in from the chat and saying, I want to play with you guys. I don't know if you want to kind of destroy what you already built up as well, because it might be people who just want to make sure to destroy everything.
Yeah.
So how do you think that you're supposed to cover yourself from that kind of toxicity?
I didn't do Valheim, but I did a Minecraft community server for a while.
Yeah.
I have not been on it for ages. It still exists. But with that, for example, I had two of my mods in charge. So people that wanted to join had to reach out to them and be whitelisted and also agree to a set of rules for that server. So we would not have issues, like when people, for example, build where they're not supposed to build, and then you had those two people that were in charge of the server looking after things. And if someone did something, we could literally look at who did something to that block and then tell them, look, that wasn't cool. But I'm usually just, trying to vet the people. And I've had people that I played with where I was afterwards like, oh, I don't know if you're a person that I want to be around with
Yeah.
for several reasons, which is fine. Sometimes people just don't get along. But yeah, it's just like that little extra hurdle for people to join the Discord and to agree to rules, these little things that usually just trolls will not do because it's too much work.
Yeah. How do you mitigate that against other people?
Um,
When it
I
comes
don't understand the
to
question.
banning people if they're not being honest with you and stuff like that.
I rarely had the situation that I had to ban people. Usually it's just bots. But if it's like something in stream, they will just be banned if it's something
Yeah.
against the rules. But if there is a situation, I had that before, where a person that I was very much involved with for a longer period of time portrayed a behavior that I didn't agree with from a content creator standpoint.
Yeah.
Put certain posts and certain behaviors, certain stream etiquette. And I took the time to send a lengthy message to say, look, these things do not work for me. Because what kind of friend or even professional coworker in that kind of case would I be if I just ghost them and be like, nah, I don't have time to play with you anymore? I said that to that person, these things I have an issue with. This person decided to not change anything and basically told me, if you don't like it, don't interact with it. So I took a step back. But I told them, this is my issue with you. And if you hold that up, I will not do stuff with you anymore.
I think it's also a good way for you to have a honest discussion with both your community and people that you're interacting with. So
Yes.
it's a good way to uh, relieve the stress from you as well, because if you're have to think about what they are going to say next on during your stream, you might as well kick them and
Yeah.
be
And
happy with your life. I mean, we are all adults here who are constantly going in and talking to each other because we like to play with together with each other. So
mm-hmm.
one of the things that you kind of want to set up boundaries is that if you already set about a couple of boundaries, make sure to respect them. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't have to play with you. That's it.
Yes, exactly. And to be fair, I'm always a person that gives no, not that gives that believes into opportunity of change. So I stepped on a lot of toes because I sometimes get a little bit out there if I'm like going on about a topic and then sometimes make jokes that other people might not find funny and I don't clock it. So I would appreciate it if people come to me and say, look, you said something that I don't vibe with, and then I can adjust my behavior. And so that's what I want to do with other people too. I want to give them the chance so that they know exactly what people have an issue with, because then they will not be able to change and they will just sit there and wonder why no one wants to play with them anymore.
Of course.
And that's just where I'm like, okay, I have been around you for a long time. I care about you, so I tell you what my issues are and whatever you do with that. um, is on your side, but I will react accordingly. Like if you decide to not change, then I will not be around you anymore, kind of. And had to learn the hard way because I'm a people pleaser. Don't get me wrong. I'm the typical childhood trauma people pleaser that most millennials are in some point in their life. Um, and I had to learn the hard way that you have to the hard way, not where. That you have to set boundaries with people and also have to uphold those boundaries because if you don't, they will not respect them and then they will walk over you again and again and again and again.
Yeah. Uh, I think that it's a very important issue to discuss, especially if you're having a young audience, like me, for example. I have like people all the way from like 7 or 8 years up to 65,
Mm.
70. So do you have any advice for people who are trying to get into the streaming business or get into the content creation? Do you have any tips or tricks that you want to share with you?
Um, yeah, like for example, as a beginner, what I see a lot when I was in those streamer support streamer groups,
Yeah,
people put their profile there and be like, I'm live now playing this, not saying who they are, what their thing is, like what kind of idea is behind your stream. They do not tell you what they are about. And then you go onto their profile and the about page is empty. Maybe a donation link sometimes, maybe an about me, but not much. So what I'm saying is in the beginning, think about your platform. If you, for example, stream on Twitch, don't just go live, but also make your about me page. Get some panels on there. You can make them easily yourself with certain online tools like Canva, for example. But put some information there so if people go onto your link while you're not live, they can see who you're all about. Because if that Twitch channel is empty, then, there's nothing to grasp for them. Also, put yourself out there, but do not count too much on those streamers promote streamers kind of situations because it's the follower for follower thing. It is just dead followers. Followers mean nothing on
yeah,
Twitch, especially on Twitch. But what is important is the viewers. And you need to be engaging. That's the second thing. Even if you have 0 people in chat, talk. Even if it's just commenting the gameplay.
yeah,
You need to be engaging and talking because Twitch never shows you the accurate numbers. People can be
of
lurking in
course.
there and then you are stone faced playing the game like this all the time. No one will engage with you. By now I even do it when I'm not streaming that I comment on my gameplay. And that's why Sea of Thieves is such a good game for it. Usually you play it with a crew, so you have a conversation flow
Yeah,
that can kind of fill these empty moments. And that helped me a lot in the beginning to get the conversation going, to get used to talking to no one. And a friend of mine made a really good comment that sticks to me to this day. He said, for me, streaming is like I'm sitting on my couch at home and those 3 viewers sitting next to me on my couch just watching me game. And if you think about it that way, then like 10 viewers are a whole fucking lot.
yeah.
And even then,
They are,
imagine having 10 people on your couch and everyone would talk. That would be fucking chaotic.
of course.
And with this like kind of little ratio, I think you can appreciate those little numbers even more. Because a lot of people get discouraged if they just have little numbers, they're not having huge amounts of people in chat. It's not about that. If you will be engaging, the people will be engaging back eventually.
Of course. I think that also one of the other streamers that I was interviewing in the beginning, Mr. Barrington, he said that usually.
We have a ship named after Barry, which is the Barrington.
Barrington. That's funny coincidence.
Sorry.
So he's one of my oldest friends within the streaming community. He's been around for like 3 or 4 years, and we immediately connected. So
Yeah.
one of the things that he said is that everything that you want to do is that you need to have those organic followers that are coming in and talking to you because they want to talk to you, not because
Yes.
they want to be in the chat, that or just because they want to see what you're doing. They want to come in and see what you. And if you're thinking about it like that, you have to change your perspective and say that everything that you do reflects on your stream. Everything that you do reflects on everybody who is
Yeah.
in your stream right now. They are not looking at Netflix, or they are not looking at TikTok and scrolling. They are not looking at everything else. They're just coming in and watching you, which means that you're the center of attention of their watch game right now.
Yeah.
And to give props and to give the amount of respect towards the viewers that are coming in and engaging with you is
Mm.
the barely minimum that we can do.
Yeah.
So I
As I
think,
said, think about them sitting on your couch. You wouldn't ignore them,
yeah,
right?
of course. Of course. And I think that today's TikTok brings, I mean, if you're streaming on TikTok, usually if you're streaming on TikTok, I have a multi-chat version that I can
It
see
shows you
both
who
on,
drops in,
yeah,
right?
who drops in and who drops out. And you're kind of like, people are coming in 3 or 4 times, scrolling through,
Mm.
and then all of a sudden they come in and they don't drop out. Wonder why? Because it's kind of engaging, especially if you're amongst people who are uh, making your stream funny.
Yeah.
Especially if you're having a blast, especially if you're
Mm.
having those people who are like the joke. It's a very loud, very noisy uh, department where they are just talking to each other and making
Mm.
cracking jokes and making sure that we were laughing so hard we couldn't even focus on the game. I think we died like 4 times
Yeah.
by just the dropping off a cliff, and it gets funnier and every time. So a lot of people want to engage in those kinds of those kinds of streams, especially if you're
Hmm.
coming in and uh, you want to crack jokes at the same time as you want to bring in the people who are coming in from
Mm.
the chat, because that's the way that people are reacting to your streams at the same time as they are having fun with you.
You want to be an immersive experience. Like,
Yeah,
it's not like you're watching a movie. We are active entertainment. And if I hit go live, I am going live for the sake of entertaining people. And I cannot be entertaining if I just, be stone faced. And that's what I said in the beginning. The people might come for the game that you're playing, but they have to stay for you. And those people that stay for you will not mind what you're playing, because I know like there's a certain handful of people that show up no matter what I'm playing. I know there's people that are more likely to drop in when I play Sea of Thieves because they might not like the other games or whatever.
of course.
But also with the crafting, obviously the people come in there because they want to see what I do because they have an interest in my art, not so much about the game.
Yeah.
And that's kind of validating to be able to go live and have those handful of people in there instantly because they are like, oh yeah, Geeky is live, we're going in there.
So one of the last things that Adam wanted to ask you is that uh, if you had a unlimited budget right now, is there any specific thing that you want to craft or perhaps do a specific costume that you kind of like? If you have a limited time and limited budget, what kind of
Mm-hmm.
costume would you make sure to do in that case?
Oof. That's a big ask
Yeah,
because
it is.
obviously there is like a lot of
Is there like
beautiful
a
and
dream?
intense outfits. I probably would go into like the creature department. I don't know, have you seen Pan's Labyrinth?
No, I haven't.
There is a creature in there that has like eyes on his hands, and I would make this. I'm very much into like creature actors and that stuff. I can send you a picture of the character, but it's basically like a full silicone suit, and I would probably get into making silicone things because that's something I always wanted to do, that I understand how to do, but it's freaking expensive. The materials and the tools you need are very, very expensive. So I've never done it. But yeah, that would be probably it.
Could you send me that on Discord afterwards?
Yeah, I will do.
Awesome. So we can pick it up on the screen as well, so everybody can
Mm-hmm.
see it as well. Do you
Yeah.
have anything that you want to? Uh, did we did we pick up everything that you wanted to talk about?
I think so. I mean, I can go on and on about a lot of things, but
Of course.
I
Uh,
can't spoil everything. Otherwise, no
you
one
can
is
spoil.
watching my streams anymore.
We have to do a part two as well, so we can save that for the future in that case. Um,
Yeah, sure.
I appreciate you a lot coming in and doing this podcast with me. I hope everybody who is from both communities, make sure to go in and follow her and check her out. She does a lot of fun stuff as well as creative stuff. So make sure to come in and follow her. Uh, do you have anything that you want to share, like any last thing? Do you have any specific things that happened to you during a stream, for like a big streamer coming in and raiding or something like that?
I think I mentioned in the beginning at some point that I got raided, I think by Bearded Gaddon once, and I was quite new to streaming. I was like still on. I don't know if I was still on the Xbox or already on the laptop, but it was like in my first year of streaming, and I got raided by Bearded Gaddon, who is a Sea of Thieves partner, with 1,500 people, which
Wow,
was so overwhelming. I had no idea how to deal with it. But it was a lovely experience, and I have to say, in general, like the Sea of Thieves community is a very supportive and lovely bunch, and I would not like be in the place I'm now without them because, you know, there is kind of other friends of mine that also stream, but they have like other communities, and I see that because of the Sea of Thieves community, because how the game is and how the community is and how supportive they are, I experience a lot of growth because the people are always happy to sail with me or, you know, get on, plan a stream together or whatever. And that's really, really nice because the player interaction in that game is the number one thing that I play it for.
yeah,
And it's always fun if you have like a funny experience with like tricking a player or tucking on their ship for like an hour and then they find out you stream and then they come back for your streams and then you're like, oh yeah, we met on the seas, like, we met in the game. And those are the little things that I really, really love. It's a lot of fun.
that's awesome.
um but one of my most memorable things regarding my streams was probably also 2 years ago in my beginning time. We got a treasure stolen from us from a person that I didn't know back in the day, was also a Sea of Thieves streamer already. It was Britty Bear. Some of you might know the name. But she stole our chest of legends, and then we talked to her and jiggled with her and had some fun. And then years later, like last year when I did my jiggle compilation, I looked at the clip and was like, wait, that was pretty. Now I know who this is, like
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
names make sense. To a point where in 2016 at a gaming convention, I met two dudes and I see them there every year. And it turns out they are Sea of Thieves streamers. I didn't know. They
You
were
didn't
always
know that?
dancing with our Halo group at this Xbox Fan Fest. And turns out, yeah, they're Sea of Thieves streamers. I think they're partners by now, even. And it's like so funny how long this whole thing was brewing before coming together how it is coming together now, which is kind of nice.
That
So, as a closing statement, I'd say to everyone who wants to pursue content creation or streaming, don't stress yourself out. Look at it as a hobby and don't be disappointed if it's not like if you're not being famous within in the first few weeks of it. It's a slow process, but the most important thing are the authentic people you meet along the way.
of course. I really appreciate you doing this for the podcast, coming in and talking about your uh, special abilities about content creation and making sure to getting those costumes done, getting those creative stuff that you do. And I think I appreciate it. I appreciate your mods coming in and talking to us as well. They're having a blast in the chat right now. Uh, one last question before we end this stream is that do you have any other streamers that you would recommend to do the podcast? Do you
Oh, tons, tons.
tons?
There's a lot of lovely streamers that I could recommend to you
Awesome.
that would have beautiful views on different parts of content creation. Um, Obviously, like the first and foremost I have to name would be Package Punch, which is the person I started streaming with. She is
She's
on the
the
other side of
American,
the
right?
world. Yes, exactly.
All
I
right.
told you about her before.
Yeah.
Um, because she has she is wonderful in what she does, definitely. But almost like I could recommend you so many people. It's easier to tell you who not to.
Of course. It's not.
But yeah, I can definitely recommend Punchy for the podcast because she is such a bubbly, wonderful person. She has a lot of stories to tell, and
I
she's
bet.
always a joy to be around.
That's awesome. Here's thank you to your community, to you. Thank you for doing this. I hope you have an awesome streaming career from now on, and I hope your creative things are coming up as fast as they can, so you can have more time and uh, more great content as you possibly can. I really
Yes.
appreciate you doing this, and I hope you have a awesome time after this.
Well, yeah, thank you for having me. This was my first podcast experience,
It was.
and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I, I,
Yes.
I thought you did a podcast before. Maybe it was someone else I was talking to earlier.
um, I did um, I did do an interview stream once where we were talking about costumes, but that was not necessarily a podcast format. It was more like a talk round about random stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's awesome. Huge thank you. I hope everybody has had like a lot of fun as I have, and I hope you had a lot of fun. I hope to do this one more time after a couple of years so we can come
catch up,
back and
yeah.
reminisce and see what kind of stuff developed. And I hope
Mhm.
to see you soon again on
Yes.
either raids or either other stuff. Like I hope to come in and play with you guys sometimes on the SOTs.
Yeah, if you definitely would love to have you.
It would be fun because I really need to start playing some other games with English talking people.
I'm sure you would love to see a Thieves community, and trust me, we are such a diverse bunch. It's just lovely there.
That is awesome. Big thank you to you and everybody in the chat. Thanks so much for coming in. I hope you have an awesome day and thanks for watching. See ya.
Thank you guys. Bye.